Hear it? All the way from New Zealand.
Up the Waz! I'm cheerful.
Up the Waz, mate.
I can't.
Any comments, mate?
No.
The Waz, they came and got you.
The last time.
They got you, Hassan Chris.
I'm not going to comment until I have to.
Ladies and gentlemen,
With a lawyer present.
Welcome to the Back Yourself podcast.
Fuck these cunts.
Hussein here to recap round 4 of the NRL with the Tigers ambassador who did it tough today. It's all right, mate. You can't win them all. But apparently you can't win anything because, fuck me, the tipping comps are getting nuked this round. A round of upsets, which I would lie solely on my shoulders because I had the audacity to say, I think there's a couple upsets coming in the preview. Holy fuck. Some of these results were insane. Chrissy, welcome to the pod. How are you feeling, my friend?
Same garbage.
I think there's a few Waz supporters about to break into the studio. And
That's fine. Look, I got plenty to say to Waz supporters. You know, congratulations on your win. We'll get to how much you deserved it, but
I'll say top to bottom, like just insane round. And look, we're punters. We're footy savants, I would say. We know a good amount about the sport. And by 8 p.m. on Friday, I was like, fuck yeah. Me and Chris are like all over this round. We're killing it. We tip Titans. We tip Souths. We're on fire. And then, like, honestly, from that point forward,
South.
From 3 p.m. Saturday onwards, I just sitting here scratching my head. I don't even know what's happening anymore. But how did you feel about the round, Chrissy?
First 3 were fine. Even the first 5, I would deal with. As soon as it got to the 6th game and that happened,
that was where the dagger entered your backside.
Absolutely. Same garbage from these cunts, but
yeah.
Why do I expect anything different to happen? Only if you added the best front row in the competition, why would I expect anything different?
Yeah, well, anyway, I think that's a good segue into Thursday night football where the Penrith Panthers were laid down and put a dagger into by halftime. 28-0 read your scoreline. And unless you had a pair of binoculars or a microscope, you would not believe what the scoreline read at halftime. 28-0. I never imagined that in my wildest dreams. Even though we were on Souths, we said, look, 10.5 to that halves pairing, you got to be joking. $4 to that halves pairing, you got to be joking. But even I had no words by halftime. 28-0, Chris. What was your takeaway from this avalanche from South Sydney?
I mean, it looks like they have no plan without Cleary. And they didn't. I mean, Schneider, Talau, Cole, Talangi, who should have been there, Blake Laurie, Mitch Kenny, which Mitch Kenny apparently for Origin, did he even play? Anyway, they were atrocious in that first half.
It's bad.
It was the only thing they had going for them is they had a Penrith jersey on. Other than that,
you wouldn't recognize it.
No. It was nothing we had seen in the past 5 years from this Penrith team. And for everyone that says, well, you know, Penrith right at the start, like in the last 5 years, I don't think they've played that bad.
No.
It wasn't even who's out there. It's just gameplay in general was just that bad. I haven't seen them play that bad in 5 years.
Yeah. That was really bad.
And the second half, they reeled it in. They reeled it in. They played much better in the second half. But look, some of that was just South giving up, which, you know, we'll get to that. But I genuinely think they have no plan outside of Nathan Cleary, which fair enough. He's your best player. He's the best halfback in the competition. Sure. But I can't believe they didn't see this coming. Not that he would get HIA, not that he would get injured, but you'd expect him to get picked for Origin. I mean, you'd expect him to maybe take the game after Origin off because he needs some rest. I mean, you knew this was coming. So why are we going, how can they play with just Schneider and Cole? Like, what do you expect? I mean, one, everyone expected Penrith to win anyway. They were 10.5-point favourites. And two, well, they should have planned for this. They knew Edwards wasn't going to be there. They knew Cleary wasn't going to be there. Yet alone on top of that, those games, they're not going to have Yo either. They're not going to have Martin either. Diabolical. I mean, if they play like this, it's literally a smoky to miss the 8. If anyone wants to tell me in the comments, they'll make it. I'm not saying that they won't. I still think they're, in terms of the odds markets, I'll put them probably $1.25 to make it. Sure. But if you're looking at $4 or $4.50, $5 for Penrith to miss it and be like, well, It's possible. Cleary gets injured during the Origin period, before, after, any point that he cannot get on the field. These cunts look shit. And if they have no plan pre-season, they're not going to develop a new plan throughout this period of time that they can go beat teams that are much better than South. South's in the middle of the pack right now. If they went to play Cronulla, Melbourne, Brisbane, Manly, Dogs,
But they'll win all of them.
They wouldn't beat any of them without Cleary. It wouldn't even be close.
Yeah. So, are you saying that the dynasty is in jeopardy, sir?
Oh, yeah. I already had him outside my 4 and doing an updated predictions now. I still got him outside my 4. I still got him in the 8, but I don't have him in the 4. And I don't think anyone can argue they're going to make the top 4. Not that 1 and 3, because everyone's 2 and 2 anyway, but it's just the way they're playing is un-Penrith-like.
Okay. The world is sitting at home right now being like, finally, this Penrith fucking avalanche is over. They're 1 and 3. They just had they just did the unthinkable in that first half of the South game.
And lose to South by 30.
It was diabolical. They're not playing like they used to play. It's over. They can't win the comp. I'm telling you, put your pen down. Don't scratch that Penrith Panther name
off
the paper yet, because look, there's a few things going for Penrith, and I wouldn't jump off the ship this early. Number one, all the good teams have dropped games for no reason, except one team, which we'll get to them. What a performance they had. But anyway, all the good teams have dropped games so far. So when you look at the ladder, sure, Penrith are down at the bottom with only 1 win, but the teams above them, I would argue, 90% of the teams, I know Penrith are better than them anyway. So you have that, number one. Number two, that first half, outside of having Penrith jerseys on, there was nothing about them that
was Penrith.
Suggested to me that was Penrith running out there. Okay, Edwards is out, Cleary's is out. You have devoid of talent in your spine. But in my opinion, the way the first half played out, it wouldn't have mattered if Cleary and Edwards were there or not. Because if you're going to go out and in a half of footy, concede 74% of possession to your opposition, what was the completion? 7 from 19?
6 from 12 or something?
6 from 14 or something? Wow. And what we've seen from the NRL so far is if you give a team that much ball and that much possession,
they're going to win.
Even Penrith can't defend anymore. Yeah. Now, Souths, I thought they played a perfect half of footy. For all that we come on and say Souths, you guys are beyond help and all this other nonsense. Truly, that was a proper Wayne Bennett ambush style footy. And it actually looked like Souths were playing like Penrith and Penrith were playing like Souths.
Just the jerseys.
I can't believe that Souths would actually go down there and score that easily. Koloa Matangi, he looks like he's in the best shape of his career. I know New South Wales have crazy depth at the back row position, but if they put him in there right now, I wouldn't be mad because he's playing that good. And he gets a first half double, which was very impressive. Jai Gray, can you really not put him in the 17 with how good he's been playing? I think he's probably up there in Dally M voting so far, and he's been probably the South's best player every single game they've played. And you know what?
Wing.
I don't want to take any credit away from Souths by saying, they had so much ball. Of course they're going to lead 28-0, because better teams than them had enough ball to score a bunch of points this weekend, and they didn't.
The next game.
Souths get a lot of credit for going up 28-0, but to me, this is more about Penrith. And from the rumblings I've heard around the footy circles, I'm not willing to be no, Penrith are done, because what I've seen from them, it's not, Cleary's not there and the halves can't generate attack and that's why they're losing, like the Origin rounds of the other years. Now it's they conceded a try too early and then they start pressing and they turn into Cowboys and they just start offloading in their own 20, throwing cut-out passes to Garner on the wing from their 10-metre line.
They turn into Cowboys.
This is really nothing that we've been used to, and it's not the reason why they've been dominating the competition for the last 5 seasons. Do people have a target on their back of finally, these cunts are crumbling and we can come out and stomp on them while they're down? Absolutely, but they just need to get healthy. They need to turn their form around a little bit, and I think there's going to be a Penrith rampage at some point in this season where they string together 5, 6, 7, 8 wins in a row, granted that they're healthy. On the South side of things, 3-1 would be Wayne Bennett's wet dream coming into the year of
100%.
The day that we said Latrell's out, Cam Murray's out, where these guys literally won't even win a 10-minute interval of a match. and now they're sitting up there pretty 3-1. Hilariously, they still have a minus point differential, which truly only Souths could pull that up. -3 is really funny to me, but
didn't they win this game by 10?
They have they won it by 10. They have the wins on the board, right? And that's the Wayne Bennett effect of these close nip and tuck ball games are going in their way. Cody Walker stepped up. Humphreys looks like the real deal. Jai Gray has been more than serviceable in Latrell's absence, and you got to take your hat off to Souths. They really came to play in this one. Probably, again, one of many teams that are sick of getting smashed by Penrith over the past 5 years, and they came out blood in the eyes and really took it to Penrith. And Penrith just didn't have a response for them at all. So
Souths do well against Penrith.
Normally, yeah. Of the teams that have gone back and forth with them, you think of the grand final, the week 1 semi that they went to Bluebell and won somehow. That still is.
There was that other game that Tash scored in the last minute. They won. Yeah.
At the end of the day, Souths can score, right? Yeah. So again, Souths, you guys have done great to be 3-1. Penrith 1-3. The inverse is crazy, but there's a lot going on that I think they can rectify, and I'm not worried about them in the long term, assuming Cleary and Edwards come back in somewhat healthy shape.
That makes one of us. I'm definitely worried about the long term. I'm comparing this team to Newcastle right now. Like, if Cleary goes down, it's like Kalen going down. They're done. And, if he's out for an extensive period of time, at any point, they're in big trouble. I mean, just think of the origin period. There's going to be at least 3 or 4 matches that they won't have players.
Yeah.
No Cleary, no Edwards, no Yo, no Martin. And who can they beat without them? Genuinely.
Para.
The way they're playing, I'm just saying, look at the Souths game and be like, all right, they play like that again. Minus Yo, minus Martin.
Yeah. Well,
look, I know that Para won't have players. Para's shit anyway.
It's not about that.
No. But if let's say Para have Moses and these guys have that, Penrith would be favoured, but could you be like, oh, nah, Penrith are going to go beat Moses?
Look, Penrith,
I don't think you can.
Penrith, you can't have it all, right? They've lost so many players over the years. If you're going to take away their 5 best players from their current lineup, they literally won't beat anyone. That's fine. My argument is, if they're healthy come finals and they're the 7th seed and they have to go to fucking, who's 6? Knights. You're going to go tip Knights? No. So just pump the brakes. Penrith will be okay. What do you think the 2 worst performances of the year were from Penrith so far?
The 2 losses.
Well, they've lost 3, right? They played commendable in Melbourne.
Yeah, that was obviously.
They were horrible against Roosters, and they were absolutely...
No, they were worse in this one.
They were absolutely despicable in this game. Truly, they were a Brian To'o try away from going to Golden Point, playing despicable against Roosters, and truly, if Moses Leota scored, Souths would have been shaking.
Yeah, but you could say the same about their win.
Yeah, that's fine. But
because look, Cronulla, we know, made errors that game.
That's fine. Losing the Sharks by 4 is not something to scoff at, but the world will scoff at, you were down 28-0 to Souths.
Yeah, but this could have been, if they didn't win that, they would be on 4.
No, I understand. But what I'm saying is, you won't get a worse looking Penrith outfit, both on paper and with your eye test, and they're still in these games somehow. Truly, if Moses Leota scored, Souths would have been shaking.
Of course.
Which is unique to Souths that they would even get themselves in that situation.
That's a Souths problem.
Anyway, not the
No, we can't bag out Souths.
So we're going to bag out the Roosters instead. Shout out to Barnsley, shout out to J-Maz, the Sydney Roosters.
Do you want to shout out?
Back-to-back weeks essentially just can't score is the key takeaway for this one. The Titans win 30-12, 13 plus the Roosters on my birthday. Full transparency, my 25th birthday was Friday night, and I told the missus I want to watch footy uninterrupted for 4 hours straight. So I watched this with a very fine-toothed comb. I have a lot to take away in this one, but Chris, I want your thoughts first. How about those Chookies, baby?
The one game I can smile about because it's the same old fucking Roosters, aren't they? Look, I just can't wait till they don't get these line breaks. I mean...
Well, can they score less than what they have before?
Yeah, they can, actually, because you can get to 0. I mean... Without these line breaks, they're scoring 12. I think in the last 2 weeks, they've had 18 line breaks or some shit.
Yeah, 17, 18.
And they've scored a total of 20 points.
That's really bad.
What happens? And look, you're playing a Warriors side who are 3-1, best team in the NRL. And you're playing a Titans side who, Clarkie, if you do watch this, I mean, fuck me, you can't suck. some of that forward defense was something new. You made Tedesco look like he was prime all over again. Incredible.
It's bad, yeah.
That first half, it was just Tedesco, line break. Tedesco, line break. Like, all right, Titans. But what's fascinating about this team is that the middle of the park is so lazy on defense, but the edges work so hard. They have such high work rates. They get back so quickly. The Roosters get the ball off the line break, and they're like, did we just not make a line break? And what actually was missed in this game, in my opinion, the service from dummy half was atrocious. I mean, first of all, Docker Clay never keeps up with the play. Let's start it with that.
He's tired from scooting on the trail line every 2 minutes.
All right, he's tired. let's start with that. All right, he's tired apparently, but he's never there on time. And then whoever comes in can't pass the ball from dummy half and give any service when the line break happens anyway.
It's bad.
And usually, it's not a half that's there. And that's like a big thing that obviously Townsend's a backup half. I get it. But he started for Cowboys, which just explains how... And they made a finals with that. They came fifth with him at halfback. But...
By then, they just dropped him, didn't they?
Yeah, they put Clifford in.
God,
which, yeah, we'll get to Clifford.
The MVP.
MVP. But, like, there's real question marks. I genuinely think they still can come last.
Roosters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if they don't get those line breaks against teams that somewhat defend and keep their line intact, they don't look like anything kicking-wise. Maybe they'll get a kick try to Tupou or Dom Young because they're tall. But forwards-wise...
They can't even kick for them properly.
They can't even kick for them properly. Forwards-wise, like, all right, you guys actually took the game to Titans. And I think you mentioned... You'll mention him more. But they took the game to Titans. And the Titans have a good pack, which is a testament to how good this Titans pack is, which it's really not great. It's just good on paper. So they're just so lazy. That's why I don't like them. They're just lazy through the middle of the park. And Roosters, like, they just couldn't capitalize. And once you don't capitalize in this sport, you're done. Like, if you can't score after those line breaks or six agains or penalties, it's finished. You might as well just pack up because you know some garbage is going to go with you the other way. And Titans are the kings of garbage. In saying that, their tries were like pretty good tries, but they find a way to make it like dumb, so they score in some stupid way. But without Kinney, they still look great. I mean, he was a live wire in week 3 when they played the Knights, and he looked great. Like, not being there, De Groot did his job. I don't think he'll be there going forward, but Titans shoe in for the 8, in my opinion. They look great.
So now you're going to die for Titans.
Look, at
least
least
after calling them garbage 2 seconds ago.
They can score.
Yeah, they can score, right?
They scored 20 against a team that if you score 20 against them, I don't know what's going to happen. Lightning has to strike twice to score past 20 past that team. And Titans did it.
I got a lot to say about this game.
All
Number one.
Roosters suck.
Roosters, you guys are in a very bad spot now. 1-3. Imagine like what the situation would be if you lost to Penrith, which you probably should have. With everything that went on that week, we'll be 0-4, and it would be like very, very dire stands in
below
Bondi.
Cowboys, which is really funny.
This game was very interesting. I actually thoroughly enjoyed this one. It was such a edge of your seat kind of contest, and there were so many twists and turns, and the game was about to open up at so many different points, and it just didn't. That the contest were like on the scoreline was close for so long until Roosters quit at the end.
Well, it has to be.
Which I'm going to get you to the point of why it got to the end. Roosters came out, completely dominated for like 30 minutes of the game. Their forwards really took it to Titans. They got the majority. The calls were even by the end of the game, but majority of them came at the start because Roosters they had the ascendancy, right? Titans, they came out, they were tired after like 10 minutes. And typical. Their forward pack is amazing on paper. And to be honest, they are amazing with the ball in hand. Like you said, their outside backs are physical and talented and athletic. And their forward pack has so much leg speed, so much size, the ability to shift the ball, offload the ball, that they're a lot to contain when they have the ball. But I don't see that physically imposingness that they dish out with the ball without it, right?
100%.
And literally every single time Teddy took a run, I was like, he's going to go and score a 100-meter try because he was just, it looked like there were spiders on him. The Titans players were just like sticking arms out, being lazy, head-high tackle here and there. Like, typical it's all good. We'll give Roosters 10 line breaks, right? But to the Titans' credit, and more so to the Roosters' inability to execute, They generated all those half chances, all the line breaks. It's essentially copy-paste the same script from the Warriors game last week. You had 9 line breaks, 1 try to show for it, and I think they might have gone into halftime 6-6 or some garbage, which at halftime I was like, these guys are going to lose, right, aren't they? Because after having 6 line breaks in the first half, it's like, and this is where I'll call Robbo out, right? You have your beef with Robbo. I'm sure you get many more opportunities to bring it up as the season goes, because it looks like losing games of footy is going to be pretty common with the Roosters going forward. But my beef with Robbo is there's no discipline in his players, right? And if anything, this was the best opportunity in a game to convert line breaks. If you don't convert them to tries, it's all right. We can convert them to a line dropout or give the Titans the ball back in the corner of the field, right? But Roosters is like, oh fuck, like we got a line break, we got to score from it. Oh, Teddy has like 2 players around him. I'll whip one of these balls to some loser that's supporting, and he'll drop it. And he dropped it, so let's just flop in on the tackle and give a penalty away. And then before you know it, like we were just had a try scoring opportunity, and 2 seconds later, we're on our own 10-meter line, and Titans are scoring through AJ Brimson to tie it up, right? So if Roosters had a bit more patience to their game, and why I say that this was a good opportunity for them, they literally lost last week's game the exact same way.
I know.
So, all right, last week's was a one-off. You got a bunch of line breaks, you couldn't score. That's okay. But Robbo's focused the whole week of, all right, boys, if we're getting ourselves in this situation again, we're going to apply pressure to the other team. Scouting report, Titans do not handle pressure well. And if we can just park ourselves down their 10-meter line, eventually they'll crack. And then the points will come at the back end of the game. But Roosters was like, oh, we got a line break. Let's try and score. Oh, it didn't work. Oh, okay, let's go and not defend.
Yeah.
So at halftime when it was tied, I was like, these cunts are going to come out and give up, aren't they? And truly, the tipping point, which I think Sandon Smith was excellent in the Penrith game, which they won. Scored 38 points. Townsend, I'm not going to pile on him because he is what he is at this point. He's 35 years old. He's only there as a replacement half. No one thinks he's good. So
he does.
If they had Sam Walker instead of him in that first half, would it be 18-4 at halftime? Probably, but you got to stick with, like, he's all you have, right? So that's fine. But I thought Sandon Smith in particular was terrible. His decision-making between when to pass, when to run, when to take the line on was awful. Kicking game, awful. And unfortunately, to cap the cherry on top of the cake, his intercept pass to Jaden Campbell where 12-8 could have been 18-8, but instead it's 12-all. From that point forward, Roosters were like, fuck this. Like,
what a bad ball.
I would give up as well, right? Like, and you gave Titans all the momentum, and from that point, you could never call you
can't
back
stop
into
Titans
the game.
from there.
How can you stop Titans, right? And I thought the Roosters forwards actually played really good. Fahu White was like, actually looks possessed. I don't think Robbo could have counted on him being probably their best forward to start the season, along with Angus Crichton up 100%. Until this point, but even you're getting that out of him, and you're still like 1-3, losing to teams that you're probably playing better than, but losing to anyway. It's just it's getting like really bad for the Roosters to be 1-3 at this point. And at the back end of the game, once it got to 12-all, it's just the way you capitulated was really concerning. I really enjoyed David Fafita and Spencer Leniu going shots on against each other, and if anything, Fafita came on, got the better of him, got in his head. He gave away that stupid penalty. They considered a try 2 seconds later, so. It was an interesting game. I thought Titans, they weren't great, but they were good enough, and Roosters were bad enough to give them a win. And don't let the scoreline fool you. It kind of blew out at the end, 30-12. It was a very tight contest through and through. But again, Roosters losing the game in the exact same way as they did last week, and the Titans kind of hanging on for dear life in spite of their own stupidity, similar to how they beat the Knights last week as well. So I guess you got to give Des some credit that he's getting the results.
They're playing for him.
They're playing for him, definitely, which. And I want to give a big shout out to Jaden Campbell with the 7 on his back so far this season. I feel like a lot of people had question marks on that halves pairing going into the season, including us, I'd say. But
it's not good still.
He's taken complete ownership of directing the troops around the park. His kicking game, he pretty much does the majority of the kicking. He makes good decisions with the ball. He's constantly around the ball and taking on the line a million times a game. And I thought he was particularly outstanding in this game. Defensively, he's been good as well. So it's 2 wins on the trot with Titans. Now, the question with you idiots has always been consistency. So can you pencil them in to go and play gun for a 3rd week in a row? I have my doubts. Obviously, they're playing the dirt of the sport, which is probably a good segue into next game.
Titans,
you guys have one job. you're playing pretty good. Just keep playing pretty good, and that's probably enough for you guys.
Well, they're probably going to move Brimson, and then they'll lose.
Yeah, well, it's like, all right, 4 rounds of Brimson in one position, we have to change him somewhere else. So I thought that the Groot kid actually came in and played okay, but anyway.
You need 4.
Also, I want to call out Robbo in a different manner. They missed Connor Watson in this game. I think his support around the ruck would have really helped them, but truly, where the fuck's the player welfare?
I know, Radley.
Radley, like...
Get him out.
In my opinion, there's no such thing as a Category 2 concussion for Radley anymore. He
one.
takes a head knock, and he's woozy, get him off. If he passes the HIA, Robbo, put your body in front of him and be like, protect him from himself, right? We know Victor, he'll go out there with... You cut his arm off, he'll go out there and keep playing. But
100%.
At a certain point, like, after what's happened with Boyd Corner, what happened with Jake Friend, you've seen this guy fail like 5 HIAs in the last 3 years. You got to protect him from himself. There's bigger fish to fry, not only for the rest of the season, but in his personal life. And we know like the effects of these head knocks, how they treat you down the line. So I feel like they need to have some serious chats.
3 games, 3 HIAs in like 20 minutes of the game.
Scary, like, yeah. So I really hope he gets well, and I feel like it was Robbo's call to make of, you know what, like let's just not put him back out there. But I don't know.
Are they going to name him again this week?
I think they've come out and said he won't play next round. Which, what if he got another head knock at the end?
Damage was done.
The damage was already done, right? Like, why are you protecting him after sending him back out there anyway? So yeah, Titans good win. Roosters bad loss. All you idiots had to do was win one of your last 2 games, right? 2 and 2 reads very differently to 1 and 3, but 1 and 3 is pretty bad and it doesn't look like
at one ambush, really.
One ambush.
Like,
it doesn't
really,
look like it's
didn't do anything
much better anytime soon for you guys. But sticking on that theme, we can move on to the Dolphins, who just are absolutely awful. And
oh wow, okay.
I don't mind taking the reins with this one. These guys are fucking terrible, and I don't know like how much more I can sit on Wayne Bennett for what he's done in South Sydney, but truly the ultimate compliment for him is how directionless and shit these Dolphins are.
They've improved
a lot, like on the line in this game, the Battle of Brisbane, they call it, and I think the physicality and the effort was there for like 10, 15 minutes, and then before you know it, Corey Pakes is under your goalpost putting the ball on the try line, like Fini Fuaki just standing there watching the ball at marker. It's just shit, like. And what you guys could generally hang your hat on was your ability to score, but literally in 4 rounds, outside of having like 1,000,000% of possession and the other team just like giving up, I can't think of one try.
They can't score.
I can't think of one try they've generated that hasn't been Katoa just straightening the attack in the middle and throwing a dummy and offloading to some shit forward. In this case, it was Max Plath scoring under the post, but just shifting the ball for the sake of shifting the ball, truly like never creating numbers. It's like it looks like the opposition has an extra player on the field every time they go out
100%.
wide. And we can see it from our couches, and we've called Christian Wolf out 3 weeks in a row.
Well, he can't see it.
What the fuck's this? And he just keeps running out doing the same rubbish again.
Well, it's 1 to 17.
This is really bad.
It's 1 to 17 of garbage. I mean,
it's really bad.
They didn't look like scoring at all in that Brisbane game. And Brisbane, like, awful. Can you argue that was like their best, outside of the Roosters game, their best performance so far?
I think it was, yeah.
Like, at least they completed. Not that they're playing match footy. At least they completed.
Don't let the 93% completion rate suggest to you that they tucked the ball on under their wing and just ran it straight the whole game. These guys were throwing the footy around, which in those conditions, I actually don't know how they completed 95%, but at least like physically they really came to play. And this is back-to-back weeks of them not covering but winning at home. Hasn't really clicked for Brisbane, probably not, but they're doing enough to get wins, which is apparently a lot more than these other fucking $1.20 favourites doing in this sport. So
they never looked like losing, which was the big thing.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
I feel like they had, unlike other teams, then there was no chance that you could see any point they could lose, which is fair. But
for 1 minute in the Cowboys and Dolphins games, I didn't think Broncos were going to lose. Yeah. So at least they're like putting teams away, right? But obviously, Dolphins haven't fucking no spine or life until the 76th minute, which Avarillo scores a 100-meter try to backdoor cover the plus 12.5. Did they deserve to cover? I think they played terribly, and it doesn't matter because they covered in the end, right? But I think on a dry track, like they conceded 26 to Broncos in that weather, so I don't even know. Like, I would have penciled them in for like 38 or 40 had the conditions been dry.
Yeah.
And I'm not so confident that they would have been able to score if they weren't dry.
Yeah,
themselves.
The offense, like the shape, and it's all Wayne, bro. Like without Wayne, they look hopeless.
Yeah.
And
these same players,
it's
right?
the same team.
Farnworth, again, Hammer Time, did he even play? All these like guys just are just shit on game day. On game day, shit, right? So 0-4 for them. I think their season's over.
Yeah,
it's done. It's dusted. Even if you go and beat Titans next week, it doesn't matter because you're not coming back from 0-4. On top of the fact that you can't suck. So I'm putting a line to the Dolphins. They're just. I actually don't even watch them. I don't want to watch them again.
I'll watch them against Titans.
Fuck them. I'm really.
I like them.
Staggs came back. He looked physically got the best of
same garbage.
Got the best of Herbie. Definitely scored that try from dummy half, which we know like what a powerhouse he is close to the line. And I owe him an apology from the preview. Shibasaki has done enough. He looks
he's so good.
He looks like GI at left center. So sure, unfortunately, my boy.
Mariner.
Well, Mariner can't crack the side. So
Mariner maybe could go on the wing. I mean,
for who?
Arthur's. Intrinsically, he's more talented.
Nah, keep Arthur's.
Arthur's is a good finisher.
He gets the job done every week. I like him.
But Mariner's intrinsically a better player.
Look, it's a good problem to have for Madge, but Reece also was a bit more tame this game, which we'll see if that's the case going forward with him. But
who do they play next?
This was, in my opinion, one of the least exciting games of the round. So I'm kind of glad we can move on to this.
They play Tigers, don't they?
At this point, Titans have won for us. Souths have won for us. Broncos won, but they didn't cover. It is what it is. I didn't really...
this is it.
I wasn't that angry.
This is where it begins.
This is where the true, for the pod's sake, the twists
garbage
and turns of just... I would have never seen that happen in a million years. And
shout out
to the Zarafos brothers.
To the Zarafos brothers.
In a victory formation for the first time of the season against the premiership favourites. The Melbourne Storm come to town and lose... the thriller in Manila turned into 12-8 was your full-time score.
14-8. Dragons.
14-8, the Dragons win against the Melbourne Storm in the pissing down rain at Kogarah. What a win it was for them. Saved themselves from going 0-3, come out of the bye with a massive performance to get yet another underdog victory of the round. Chris, I was a bit more of the Dragons will never win, but you kind of had an inkling that they would come to play. How did you find this one, mate?
Well, Dragons don't have much, but one thing we saw last year is Flano can fire this team up, and he fired them up. I mean, 0-2 after their bye, I feel like they kind of felt hard done by. They should have won one of those games, especially the
South one, yeah.
And they should have gone 1-1 into their bye going into this Melbourne game, and intrinsically, they did play hard, and exactly what I thought Dragons would come up with. That's why I was worried to lay the line. I wanted to take the points, but then when you take the points with Dragons, you need 10. These can't suck. But you didn't need 10 because they won outright. And the weather helped. No Hughes helped. I can't imagine what would have happened if Hughes played. But intrinsically, Dragons are not bad. And there's nothing bad about them. It's just in periods of games, they just lose. And I feel like they're the bad side of the spoon that Souths were. Everyone's going to rep South at a higher level, maybe up here. They're going to rep Dragons down here because of their record. But when you look at it, you're like, they're literally the same fucking team. And,
they actually are, yeah.
In my point, it's all right, in 30 minutes of the game, they both quit. Either, at 30 minutes, 2 different times, they quit the game. And then the other 50 minutes, they play normal. And you're like, well, how is this team at this record? How is this team down 12? How is this team down 10? You're like, not that bad. And that's what Dragons are. At many points in the game, I was like, oh my God, they're going to quit. And there were points that I was like, after Pappy scored, I literally thought when they come out of halftime, they were going to fuck this shit, bro. We played so good and we're losing 8-6.
It was unfair to them.
Which they were playing great. And at halftime, I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, here we go. They're not going to cover from here. And I was genuinely worried about 1-24 at that point. I was like, fuck, these cunts could fuck it up. But they came out and they kept going. And, shout out to Flano, bro. These coaches, we talk about Wolf, we talk about Riles, we talk about Payton, we talk about these shit cunt, you know what? Honestly, I don't know if Robbo can fire up the troops like Flano does. But that's another argument for a different day. But, truly, when they fired up that second half. And they deserved to probably score 1 or 2 tries on top of that. Melbourne were asleep at the wheel. And what's frustrating is that it's footy, right?
I'm over this shit.
These NRL players don't learn. They don't learn at all. They know. They sit there and go, all right, we're good. We know we're good. We just saw 2 weeks ago, Penrith lose to Roosters. What the fuck? Manly lose to Warriors. All right, sure. What else happened that round? Oh, Brisbane lose to Raiders. What the fuck? All right, sure. Okay. We played like garbage a week ago. On top of that, you have a 9-day turnaround and you go play garbage again. Like, it doesn't even make... Math doesn't math here.
Yeah, that's fucking...
Melbourne had a 9-day turnaround. Dragons were off a bye. As far as I'm concerned, Melbourne's 9 days is a Dragons bye. Yeah. They're equal.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so is it now the case that Hughes is not there, that you guys can't do anything?
Yeah.
I mean, is that what it comes down to?
Yeah.
If Hughes is not there, you guys fucking play like garbage.
Yep.
And it looked like it.
Yep.
Because, I mean, offensively, they had enough ball in the Dragons half. Dragons repelled them away. I've never seen Dragons defend like that in my life. And like I've said in the previous podcast, it's not that your defense is good. No one's going to sit there and go, Dragons' defense is good.
It's not.
There's nothing good about it.
We saw in the South game, it's not.
There's nothing good about it. So it comes down to, can the other team score? And at this point, what we saw this week, Melbourne and Cronulla both can't score.
Yeah.
That's what we've come to in this competition. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's not that any of these teams can defend. Only one team can defend, and they're first for a reason. Everyone else can leak points at will. Titans have conceded 6 and 12 in their last 2 games. Does anyone think Titans can defend?
Yeah, after going out and conceding 24 in 1 minute.
Yeah, exactly. So the defense is not there. It's incapability, and the shape is like out the window, which I will get to one team, and you said it back in round 1, and we haven't said it in a little while, and that's why I will still put them a higher regard than most teams at the moment. But these teams' shape, Cronulla and Melbourne, both of you are in the same boat as far as I'm concerned. The shape is just diabolical. Melbourne has an excuse. All right, Hughes wasn't there. But
nah, fuck that.
Fuck me, you guys had a lot of ball and you still couldn't get the ball over the line against Dragons? Come on. I thought it was just a shit performance. And to have back-to-back shit performances is un-Melbourne-like. Un-Melbourne-like. You don't see them do that twice in a row. Bellamy, the way he talked about that the post-game of the Penrith game, was like, these cunts are going to go out and absolutely destroy Dragons.
Yeah, I know.
Didn't look like it.
This result really pissed me off. Because on the preview, I said
Dragons
I would want to take Dragons in this spot probably against 15 teams in the league. But I can't take it against Melbourne because
they're angry.
Their standards are so high. Bellamy called them out after the game, said we played like garbage and we won. They have a mini bye and 9-day turnaround. This is where I fucked it up in the analysis. I said you can plug out one of the spine and they can go and score 30 against anyone.
They can't.
I changed my mind.
You can't plug out anyone from any team. All of a sudden they can't score.
You can. I swear on my life. Shout out to JB. He's not going to like hearing this.
If Munster wasn't there, they would.
I truly think if Harry Grant was out,
they would have won.
Munster was out, and it was just Hughes and Pappy, I genuinely believe Melbourne would have scored like 28 points. If you put Wishart to 6 and Garlic Sauce at 9,
I forgot.
I swear to God they would have scored 28 points.
I watched this game and I was waiting for this. Harry Grant was atrocious.
Terrible, yeah.
What is his decision making?
Just awful.
I mean, he just does weird shit.
And in my opinion, I thought the conditions would actually favour Harry Grant to step up and take control of this disgusting mess.
Well, you can't do anything to Liddell.
Right? So, Jerome Hughes, there was a reason he won the Dally M last year. He is, by far, at this point of everyone's careers, the most important Melbourne player. He is their best player. And without him, I'm sorry, like, Pappy's still gone, but I feel like he needs shape to be created for him at the end of it, right? He's got that blistering pace at the end of shape that really puts fear into teams. And his support is second to none, which you saw when he scored his only try. The only fucking Melbourne try of the game, right? Truly, Melbourne, like, this is what confuses me so much about the sport this particular season. And I keep saying it, and I have to come on and keep saying the same rubbish every week. In previous years, when some inbred used to go and win at $5, $10 odds, $4 odds, it was always in some garbage way of the favourite. We had the fucking 6 again when it was first implemented, and then we had this magic round sin bin round where cunts were getting sin bin for just looking at the opposition. There was send-offs. Some garbage would have to intercept try.
That's the only way they would
Some
lose.
garbage would have to happen for these underdogs that they would just win from sheer variance, right? But
they're actually outplaying them.
I can dead set watch this game, be like, the ref favoured Melbourne. He gave them heaps of unnecessary calls that he didn't give Dragons. They had enough ball to win 3 games. They lost. They had one player of note missing. I don't give a fuck that Nelson wasn't there. I don't give a shit.
What about Meaney, bro?
I don't give a shit about Meaney either. You replaced him with what we perceive to be a competent replacement.
Maybe the best 14 in the comp.
And you might not have scored for another 10 hours.
Yeah, they couldn't score.
Against Dragons, who literally just allowed Marmazulas to walk into their try line 2 weeks ago. Dragons deserve so much credit for this win. I'm so proud of you boys. Even though you fucked me over on Super Saturday,
they gave it a crack. At least they showed their hope.
You really, really battled and fought your tail off, and it was the gutsiest win probably of the season. That sure, the weather helped you a little bit. Sure, Melbourne were off their game, but you can get 2 variations of Dragons rocking up on the day, right? And if you got the variation of, it's all getting a bit too hard for us, they would have lost by 13 plus. But for them to actually, legit, they repelled Melbourne that first half for 30 minutes in a row, and then in 2 seconds just went and scored.
Yeah.
Melbourne, again, on the edges, just non-existent, and sure, Holmes, here's a try.
Yeah.
Right? So you have 6-2 at that point. Because Melbourne took the 2 earlier. Gee, that got them so far, the fuckwits.
It got so many teams so far.
And then Dragons, being a Dragons fan's hard, bro. Because they scored, and then after kickoff, Tuapilota dropped it like a fucking idiot, and Pappy scored 2 seconds later. Their halftime lead was gone.
Yeah.
And at 8-6, I was like, all right, Dragons going to mail it in from here. But to think that was the last points Melbourne scored for the rest of the game was out of control.
Well, Melbourne scored 1 try. That's insane.
That's it. So, look, shout out Dragons. That was a very important win for you guys. And now all of a sudden, like we alluded to on the preview, Dragons are the type of idiots to go and fucking lose to Souths and then go and beat Melbourne, aren't they? And they just did, right? They have the ability to pull off the big scalps throughout the longevity of the season. Truly, I'll fly back from Iran and nuke Dragons if they go and lose to Para next week. That would really fucking piss me off.
Plays?
That's different, right? But if Moses doesn't play and Para run out those same losers and Dragons lose to them, I'm going to be infuriated.
Well, Para's covered 2 weeks straight, so it's not possible.
Truly, Souths have now, after digging themselves a huge hole of being 0-2 for no reason, give themselves hope with, you know what? By round 5, we can have 2 wins and 2 losses.
Which is fine.
Gives them a lot of hope.
Which is a lot of teams at that point.
Great job, Dragons. You guys hung in the fight for so long. I wouldn't give you guys so much credit. On the other end, Melbourne, complacency, shit performance, lack of execution. Will they go and murder Manly next week now without Turbo? Sure, maybe.
Look,
whatever.
I don't know if that's possible.
Well, we're going to get to Manly, who truly can't score without this guy, but
I feel like today was a bit different. I feel like the first time, all right, but today was a bit different.
We'll see. But look, Melbourne, in a competition where everyone's fumbling and bumbling over themselves, you literally should have been in a position where you're 8 wins and no losses. And you already just lost one for no reason.
Look, if I'm getting 110% out of Melbourne, they'll go 28-0. But I'm not going to. I know that's what's going to happen.
They tried.
Yeah, but there's
no reason to have that much possession lose to Dragons. Fucking wake up.
I agree. But
and they were lucky to not to lose to Penrith for no reason as well.
I agree.
It really pissed me off.
2 shit matches in a row from Melbourne.
Yeah.
Now are they going to go rape Manly? Right. Who knows?
Full transparency at this point, I'm at my parents' place for birthday dinner. Thank God I didn't, obviously I had KO on, watching the little bits and pieces of Cowboys Raiders, but the Melbourne game really pissed me off, so I wasn't even that keen to watch it. I'm going to defer to you on this one. Obviously, your upset alert fucking at $2 odds manages to lose in a round where every single underdog either covered or won. So, were we on the wrong side in saying Cowboys are dirt and Raiders are going to smash them?
No. That's not the story to tell. That's not how you start the story. Hello, Raiders fans. What happened? I thought you guys were gods and no one could beat you guys. And after 2 weeks, all I heard is how wrong my ladder is. And you guys go play like a fucking pile of dirt. And don't let the scoreline fool you. Because you played Cowboys. Cowboys will give you points at will. Like, it's inevitable for those cunts. And they let you score at least 2 of those tries. I mean, the first try with Joe Tarpany.
What the hell are you guys doing to concede
If you told me what Cowboys will win that game from there by 12, I'd be like, no, you're lying. I would give you any odds that would happen. I mean, he just swiveled.
Yeah.
And he's like, there's no, all right, I'll go score. What the fuck? And then Jake Clifford turns into GI once, not twice. The second one even funnier than the first one. And
was the first one the high jump champion one?
Yeah.
And then he did the I'll walk through the...
No. I'll walk through the whole team as the first one. And then the second one was high jump champion. Back-to-back sets.
Fuck me, bro.
And then they were like, oh, bro.
After Raiders took the 2, don't forget.
The infamous 2-pointer, which never works for any team because no one can defend. Raiders, showed lack of effort.
Why?
Look, they're just the same. I mean, it's the same that we saw from Raiders. Next week they're gonna go now and play hard against Sharks. Will they beat Sharks? Who knows? But it's just okay. If Ricky tells them to wake up.
Yeah.
They're like, all right, we'll play now. That's Raiders. I mean, there's no reason to lose to Cowboys. Okay, Cowboys are 0-3. They're gonna show effort. They did. But Raiders on their day should win this game. And you know what's actually killing us? You know what actually makes all of this make no sense at all? Between Raiders and Warriors, it's all that first game.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
everything has not made sense from that point. Yeah, from the first game when Warriors went out there and looked like dirt, we're just like, these cunts suck. Fuck off.
Yeah, literally.
And they've won every game since. And Raiders, on the other hand, went home and kept that form and looked great against Brisbane and then lose back-to-back games. What the fuck? Yeah. I mean, last week, we came back and said, all right, we give you an excuse. You gave 56 against Manly. Fair enough. But yesterday, Cowboys deserved to win. They genuinely were better than them.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why. There was nothing that Cowboys showed for me that I was like, all right, that changed my mind. They're better than they were before. Can they still come last? Oh, yeah. They're awful. And the fact they let Raiders back in the game so many times to give them a chance with 5 minutes to go to only be down 6, I was just like, wow, Cowboys are bad. And luckily, Cowboys scored again. Otherwise, Raiders would have probably scored and take this to overtime. This is a classic Raiders fucking comeback in the last 2 seconds.
23-22 full-time
score. And just shit. Both teams, in my eyes, don't deserve to make the 8 already. Cowboys are dirt, so don't worry about them. And Raiders, just so inconsistent. 1 week to another is a complete difference for you guys. It's literally me saying, wake up. Can you guys play today? Please. All right. And then they go, and they go out and beat Brisbane. That's Raiders. That's what I saw from them. No reason to lose this game. They should have won. Would I take it again? Of course I would, because why would I not bet against a team who was favorited and they're 0-3 when they've proved nothing for 3 matches? And Raiders, who were gods for the first 2 weeks, now all the Raiders fans are crying and I'm hiding. What is your mate's name? Charles Croon? Yeah, where's Charles Croon now? Put us in the comment section, you fuck. Fuck Raiders.
There's your shout out, Charles. Why did they go and concede 10 line breaks to Cowboys? 10? After putting Brisbane in handcuffs? It makes no sense to me.
Cowboys are better than them.
Yeah, sure.
1 week ago, Cowboys didn't look like dirt.
What I've learned, and this is combined analysis for this game and the upcoming game. As soon as you anoint a team, they capitulate. Yeah. Week 1, what was the story? Fuck, did you see Broncos? They raped Roosters. 50, brother. They might win the Origin series. Broncos versus New South Wales, they'll win it. Immediately the week after, they get raped by Raiders.
Yeah.
Week 2.
Raiders anointed.
Knights are 2-0. They're the best team. They are the high-powered offense. They're the high-powered offense. You guys are the idiots. You haven't watched enough of Knights to understand that they're the greatest team on turf. Immediately go and score 1 try against Titans and lose for 150-0. This week, what was it?
It was Cronulla.
Nah, it wasn't even Cronulla. This week was Tigers. Whoa. Yeah. The best defense of all time in that weather. How could you predict that the opposition would score more than 10 points against Tigers? They're the best team ever. immediately go and can fucking get raped by Halasima.
There was a commentator's curse in that game. I don't know if you listened to the commentary.
Yeah,
it's like, this is the best defense, and then they scored instantly.
Immediately, it was the try after half time, which I was like, all right, just go and score. Now that Block has said that, we're finished. Which moves me to next week of, what's next week's fucking narrative? Oh, Bulldogs are now the greatest team of all time.
Oh, fuck off. No, Knights can't beat them.
So, not to get ahead of myself, I'll talk about Dogs in a second. Raiders, this is why, like, my overarching point of what I'm just rambled on about is, in, like, punting, the first 3 rounds, don't fucking listen to your eyes.
Yeah.
Don't watch Raiders play so good in Vegas, play so good against Broncos. Just tell yourself that, you know what, at the end of the day, it's Raiders. We came into the season thinking they're fucking shit, and now they can't even go as an underdog and beat Cowboys, who literally were in the tier of Para and fucking Dolphins up until Saturday night. So that's just like, in my mind, that Raiders, you had a chance that, okay, you were hard done by in the Manly game, and
we gave you a break.
We completely
the league gave you no break.
We completely, on the Back Yourself podcast, called it as we saw it. We fucking were on Manly, and we were like, we didn't deserve to win that game. Raiders were 10 times better than these cunts. They got robbed. And then immediately, when we give you an opportunity to prove us wrong of, oh, you know what? Like, maybe we were wrong about Raiders, and they're actually good. You go and concede 30 points to Cowboys. You get a sin bin after getting 500 ruck infringements, which I'm contemplating was maybe what Ricky's blow up in the press conference, in the back of the ref's mind, sin binning Colin Hess for no reason.
Yeah.
At a point where you can't, what was it, 22-6, and then Xavier Savage scored that garbage try, made it 22-12, and then he goes 6 again, penalty, 6 again, Hess, sin bin.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, like, you're really just going to take the game out of Cowboys' hands like that?
And then I thought the Cowboys were like,
yeah, they're done, I thought they were done, right?
Yeah.
Cowboys defend a couple sets on the trot. Who scored on the left-hand side for me? One of the Raiders forwards. I think came off the bench, scored. And
Moody.
Yeah, whoever the fuck. They're all interchangeable. They're all shit. So he scores. It's 22-16. And I'm like, 100% by the time Hess comes back on, this is going to be 22-all.
Yeah.
Savage makes the line break, doesn't pass. And 2 seconds later, you take a shot and go from Dearden, and this blows out to 30-20. And then you can't mail it in from there. So you went to Townsville after holding Warriors to 1 try and holding Brisbane to like 3 tries, and you concede 10 line breaks. And if anything, I thought Cowboys actually could have scored even more than 30. They could have. Which was
but really, that's Cowboys.
Which was truly alarming.
Cowboys are their own entity, right?
And again, at the point that you saw with your own 2 eyes, Tarpany walk into their try line. I was like,
these cunts are going to lose 13 plus.
Why the fuck did they proceed to go and take the 2?
Well, the 2 is the most insurance thing in the competition. Have you not heard?
True.
How many weeks of tape do people need to watch to not take the 2? I don't understand.
This is insane. That I'm at a point where if I see a team take the 2, I'm immediately going to live bet the other team.
Immediately they give up.
Not only like, oh, they took the 2 and then like 10 minutes later they conceded. It's like they took the 2, they drop it off the kickoff, they concede, penalty off the next kickoff, they concede, penalty off they concede. I blinked, and from 8-0, it was 18-8. And then it was 22-8 straight after halftime. I don't know what Ricky said to these guys. On the other end, Cowboys, that was better, boys.
They could still come last.
That was better. If you play like that every week, you can't come last. That was better. I think we came and said, you are like the despicable outfit of the sport, but there's 2 worse than you by far. By far, I would say. Para have some hope. Dolphins are beyond help. Actually, Para don't even have hope, because if you started the season with Mitch, it would be different. Now that Mitch is coming back to our own 4 side, you guys have finished as well.
Oh, they're done.
So
want to make that.
Is Townville just going to be a place you can go and roll over Cowboys and spank them and just walk away with a win? No, they're going to make you earn it most times, and Raiders didn't earn it, and now they're back to being dirt in my mind. Easily could have been 3-1 at this stage, like so many other losers, but now you're 2-2 and reeling, and you're going the wrong way. So, of all the results, I think this one pissed me off the most. You can't just, in a delayed way, prove that we were right all along, that you fucking shit. So what was the point of going and beating Brisbane and smashing Warriors that 4 weeks later we're still like, yeah, Warriors have won 3 in a row, but I saw what I saw in Vegas.
Yeah.
You know? So, anyway, moving on to
This one hurt me the most.
the most impressive victory of
100%,
season 2025 so
100%.
far. Shout out to Chris Creas. Shout out to Matt. Shout out to the Kennel, all the doggy
Well
fans,
done, the Kennel, bro.
everyone in Belmore.
To be honest, like, at least
I'm not done. Gus Gould, Stephen Crichton,
Bitcoin,
Bronson Jerry, who else? Connor Tracy,
and
Harry Hayes,
Sexton,
Sexton,
the whole team. Name 1 to 13. You might as well.
Damon
Preston.
Salmon with his blonde hair, Preston, aka Sonny Bill Williams, Wilson, aka Semi Rajrajra.
If like
I'm not done. Bailey Hayward, aka Darren Lockyer.
we could be here all night.
Who else is there? Kurt Mann, aka fucking Sam Burgess. I mean, these cunts are possessed.
Incredible.
Fuck me.
You want to start or you want to start?
Nah, it's all yours, mate. Wow.
All right, we'll start with the dog side, and then I'll go flame Cronulla, which is a first. JB's gonna like it. Where do you start? Look,
I can't believe they smashed them like that. Wow.
defensively, you've superseded Penrith already at this moment in time. Yeah. I mean, just suffocating, incredible. I feel like there is a way of beating them, but no one has the balls to do it.
What do you think?
I think do you remember the round 1 last year when Melbourne beat Penrith and they kept kicking it in behind like very early in the set? Dogs put a lot of players in the line, and I feel like that's a bit, but no one has the fucking balls to kick it on second. And Cronulla definitely don't have the balls. Now, when you say expectations, they go up and they go down. If Cronulla had won, they would have been first.
Yep.
And I think they sat there and went, oh, fuck, they don't have Burton and kick out. What have you guys even done? Actually, you know what? I'm going to fuck dogs off. You can talk about dogs. I'm going to scream at Cronulla. What have you guys done to earn yourselves even a little bit of complacency? Because you were complacent. There's no way around it. This was number 1. The biggest game that pissed me off the most. Because it's the same old fucking Cronulla. And they haven't done shit. I cannot believe this team added Fanua Blake. It looked like you guys had the same garbage as last year. Incredible. I mean, look, Sharks, you haven't done shit all. At all. And you look like when going out there, you're 3-time champions. You're like, we'll beat Dogs without Burton and kick out. That's what it was. Because I know Cronulla. And they haven't played great to start the year. But you didn't have to. You literally didn't have to play as good as you can play. If you played as competently as you did against South, you would have beaten Dogs. This Dogs team, for extensive periods of the game, didn't have the ball, which is odd for Dogs to not have the ball. But on top of that, Cronulla had set after set after set on the Dogs line. And Dogs, they just stood there and looked at them. They're like, yeah, these can't suck. They couldn't score. That's how it was. And, you can blame the players, and I feel like a lot of blame's going on Kennedy, even though, I will defend Kennedy, and I think you will too. He's had 3 fantastic games before this. The Penrith game in the loss, and the other 2 games back here, he's been great in all of them. So, sure, you can blame him for this, fine. But it's actually not his fault. The whole team in general thinks they arrived, that they're going to fucking win a comp, they're going to do something great, and Dogs literally push their shit back in their place. Because as far as I'm concerned, Cronulla, you haven't done anything. Yeah, you make a prelim every year and get hammered by Penrith or Melbourne. You haven't done shit. This was your year, and so far, it's 4 rounds in, and you played a Dogs team without their 6 and 11, which is not any 6 and 11, 2 of their best players, and literally looked dog shit. I mean, I could name you probably no one on their week, this week in particular, that could go beat this Dogs team right now because fucking everyone played garbage. But, it just looked like you guys thought you were going to win and you didn't. Even at any point, even when they went up 6-4, I was like, Cronulla, I think they've already won this game.
Yeah.
And I know Dogs are going to give them a fight and these cunts are just going to be like, oh, yeah, we're going to have to take her out from the back. And look, there were points in the game. I was like, all right, Dogs are getting tired. The middle of the park's getting fucking scary. And it was like Ronaldo and then Iro and then Adam Fanua Blake. And it was like, all right, these cunts are not gods. They can't keep tackling him. But then once the Sharks got to the actual, the scoring part of the field, we don't know what to do anymore. Fuck.
It's almost as if they lack direction.
Like, what the fuck's going on? And Hines, have you learnt anything? I mean, 3 matches, Trindle's taken the reins, and for the 4th match when we needed you most, you were disappearing. So, Cronulla, like, I know what you're going to do. I already can see the future with you cunts. This is the beginning of your garbage 20 win in a row. Because as soon as you've lost this, now you're going to go win like 5 games straight against the dirt of the sport. You'll beat fucking... Raiders. Who's next? They'll beat Raiders. They'll beat Manly without Turbo because they play them in Perth and they're good in Perth. They'll probably play the Eels after that or some garbage. I know that.
Yeah.
But until you prove to me in a game that you're actually favorited in, because as underdogs, you seem to play fucking better, i.e. the Roosters game, i.e. the Melbourne game from last year. As soon as you turn into fucking favourites against any team that's competent, you fuck it up. And Dogs, Penrith last year, the finals game against Roosters, God knows how long ago. As soon as you get any chance, we should win this, you think you've won already. And that's what infuriates me about Cronulla, because on paper, they should have dismantled this Dogs team. And it wasn't that Dogs wouldn't try. It's just that the Cronulla are more talented and will be able to score. But it didn't fucking look like it. No shape, no direction, nothing from Cronulla. Shout out to the Bulldogs, though. An absolute great ambush. I mean, I don't think any team could have gone there and done something like that in this particular position with the players you have. Only Bulldogs could pull it off, and they deserve to be 4-0. Like I said, all these other teams are literally just Muppets at this point. That's the best way of saying it. Out of the 16 teams, one is worse than the other. There is no one that's proved to me to be like, fuck, these cunts are really good. They can be good, and they probably have a higher ceiling than Dogs. But in 4 rounds, none of them have shown anything. So Dogs deserve their credit and deserve to be first right now. They've been the best team in the last month, and I hope it continues for them, and they don't fucking burn out like everyone else. But they actually look absolutely possessed. In terms of actually winning the comp, so everyone can do, I still don't have them winning the comp, but at this moment in time, they're the only team that doesn't look like Muppets.
Yeah, fair enough. Very, very passionate take from you. I'm sure
Fuck you, Sharks.
Those that have been like calling for your Sharks takes to be somewhat more consistent, I think they probably are getting what they want out of you. The Doggies fans that you've had a lot of back and forth with in the last 18 months are probably loving the...
I'll forgive it. At least they play good.
Which... At the end of the day, we are an objective podcast. And while I thoroughly sat here and enjoyed every word you just said, Chris, I don't actually agree with you.
Why? Cronulla can't beat them at any point.
Sharks did not strike me as an arrogant side on Saturday night. They didn't strike me as a nonchalant fucking...
I thought they were.
Oh, yeah, we'll just rock up and we'll just play gun on the day and we'll beat Dogs. If anything, first, like off the opening kickoff, Cronulla decided we're going to give them the ball. The first set, they absolutely fucking manhandled every single Dogs player that took a hit up. Dogs kicked from their 20-meter line. And physically, the Sharks were up for it. That was no question in my mind that they came ready to play and ready to win big. But fuck me, they're directionless, Chris.
It's
really
they have no
it's
direction.
out of control.
I know.
And in the preseason pod, when you said you think they could win the comp, I said, when push comes to shove, adding Fanua Blake really doesn't fucking change what they're deficient
in. Their shape is the problem. Their shape was never a problem.
Not just the shape, Chris, because at the end of the day, you and I know Sharks can score.
Yeah.
You know, that back line, Hines and Trindle combining, when they get it right on the day, I'm not scared about Sharks scoring. It's, okay, the game is in the balance. There's extreme pressure being applied from the other side. Who can we rely on to step to the plate and be like, I'm going to take the game by the scruff of the neck, a la Cleary in the Broncos grand final, a la Munster a bunch of times in his career, Ponga when the Knights need him, etc. There's heaps of fucking examples, right? Even to a lesser extent, someone like Cody Walker, right?
Yeah.
Every time Souths are down 4 and they're on the trial and you're like, fuck.
Here we go.
If they go left, Cody Walker can do something.
Yeah.
Either he'll come off his left foot or cut out to Johnston. But even when he fucking threw an intercept in the grand final to Critter, I was like...
Did you try that?
Seawalks, at the end of the day, I know he'll step up and he will leave the fate of the game in his hands. At 6-4 or 4-0 or whatever the fuck was going on...
6-4 when they scored.
All those sets that Sharks had on the Dogs line, did they even look like scoring?
No.
No.
No, they looked at him and they're like...
Dogs were like laughing, coming off their try.
Like,
you're going to go out the back and he's going to go out the back and, okay, like, Critter's here. He can just, like, pump Iro or Ronaldo and we can get numbers from across the field. Everyone's there. Every direction Sharks turn, there's 3 Dogs jerseys.
What?
And on the other side of things, you've come on and said Dogs physically can't score without Burton and kick out. All their shape is dependent on the left-hand side. It looked like these cunts were playing.
Yeah.
That try that Sexton threw the short ball to Preston and he walked through, I was like... I don't think Burton could throw a better ball to kick
Preston's
out.
hands with something else.
Fuck me.
This guy's glue on his hands,
I know,
bro.
Jesus Christ.
The second try as well, the Jerry try. How did he catch that?
That was insane. So, our analysis was not wrong in terms of this is who the Dogs have running out there and this is who the Sharks have running out there. Was the line wrong? Yeah.
Of course.
I think in the preview, I was like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, let's lay minus 11.5 against this Dog side because Sharks haven't proved to me that they can
cover 11 in the first place.
That they're one, clinical, and two, relentless enough that they could cover 11. I thought what's likely to happen is Sharks will go up 16-8. Dogs might like score a try at the towards the end, make it 16-12, and then Sharks will hang on because Dogs can't score, right? But you're telling me Sharks scored 1 try in 80 minutes?
And look, this is where I say the arrogancy, right?
Okay.
After 3 sets on the Dogs line, they kept going outside, either side. They were getting raped.
Yeah.
Why didn't they run the Dragons offense?
As in just keep going, like...
You're telling me they wouldn't have cracked them?
They would have, yeah.
And what's infuriating is that when we don't want the Dragons offense, these motherfuckers keep going down the middle of the park.
Yeah.
And they keep giving it to AFB, they keep giving it to McKinley, they keep giving it to Hamlin the Welle. 2 weeks ago when they played Cowboys, how many times did they do it? Yeah. We're like, spread the ball, it's Cowboys.
Yeah.
And they did it, and when they did, they scored. They were like, oh, we scored.
Yeah.
But against the Dogs side, where once, twice, 3 times they were repelled on the edges by Stephen Crichton, by Jerry, by Montoya, wouldn't you think, all right, we have AFB, it doesn't matter who they have. And in the middle of the park, like I said, there was moments in the game where Dogs were dropping off tackles, Ronaldo was getting through them. Just give him the ball on the line. I mean, it's like that was completely, all right, we can't do it. We can't run over Kurtman and Moran.
Yeah. We have to go around Critter.
And you're not good. Like, once you do it once or twice, you cannot get around Dogs. Have you not watched all their games? Do you want to watch tape?
Yeah.
The way you beat Dogs is straight through the middle. And their forwards play outstanding. They play to not their level of their name. They play to another level. I get it. But eventually, literally just mass itself will get you over the line in terms of AFB, in terms of... Well, I didn't play this game. The Brazilian guy, I forget his name.
Yeah.
Nakora, Teague, Talakai. Bro, it's just too much size. You cannot do anything about it. It's just too much size. And they have, like, oh, you don't have good service from... Blake Brayley is fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't make sense. Okay, and that is all, literally, comes down to Hines.
Yeah.
And Trindle.
Yep.
That all they know is to spread.
Yep.
And spreading doesn't work.
Yep.
If they ran at the line and gave one offload like Katoa does 90% of the time, and they would score.
Yeah, I know.
That was what Dogs going to do.
Yeah, I know.
And they just didn't do it.
Yeah. This is why, like, at the peak where Sharks were scoring like 40 points a game, you came out before Manly really emerged. You said they're the best attack in the league.
Yeah.
What fucking finals game have these cunts come and scored 30?
Never.
At least with Manly, I know they can go and score 36 in a finals
game.
But
they'll concede. But that's all right.
Like, all right, Manly has their play style. If you think they have a hard ceiling, at least they lose. Like, last year when they played Dogs, what did they win, 28-24?
Yeah.
I'm not convinced Sharks will play Dogs 10 more times and score 28 points against them.
No, I don't.
Let alone if Kikau and Burton play.
I don't think so. Can they? Of course, anyone can in this NRL because everyone beats everyone. But at this moment in time, Dogs, Sharks, I'll take Dogs. Like,
yeah. No,
Dogs are probably... There's only one team I have above them in like a ladder sense, but in a final sense, I have 2 teams above them.
Which are?
Which are Mighty Melbourne Storm and my Manly Seagulls.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
But just because of that I'll get to why Manly. But other than that, Cronulla has to be below them at this point. They're not even close.
What moment in time, like I was like, I may as well not even watch the second half.
Crichton scored.
Crichton scored. Okay, sure. You can't fucking kick goals. It was 8-6. These cunts were this far away from conceding with that 30 seconds and that last set where Montoya walked past fucking Stone Street and then he walked past Kennedy.
To that. I was gonna discuss like that was awful.
The bunker came back and was like, all right, Jerry's like held the jersey after everything, which he did.
Yeah.
But Stone Street was still there, like right in front of him, and so was Kennedy.
No. Kennedy was awful.
Where at that point I was like, all right, Sharks, they're psychologically shell shocked of fuck, we can't score, and they couldn't even hang on and just stop Dogs with 30 seconds to go. They needed a call.
Yeah,
which was really concerning to me.
Concerning in terms of the calls overall. Fuck these cunts like up the ante when Dogs are playing, and all right, feel it from this way, right? Luai's shot today that got on report, it was a penalty. I mean,
the head high.
That was like 10 times less than what Marnie did.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't even like close, and they got off with the same thing. Look, Marnie's one on the ground. I thought it was genuinely sin bin, like
it was
immediately.
It was pretty bad.
Yeah. Immediately, I wouldn't even think about it.
Yeah, it was really bad.
He's already on the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, what happened to player welfare?
Yeah.
1, 2, it was happening the whole game, but that Tupanua one, I know the game was done. Dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life.
I didn't even see. What did he do?
Oh, he got sin bin with 1 second left.
Why?
He late shot it, not just late shot it. It might as well have been. I passed it.
Next week he hit him.
Next week he hit him.
Is that why he's suspended for next week?
Yeah.
You moron.
And Marnie again did something dumb. I forget what he did, but he did something else that put him on report again. And both of them were fined, apparently. Golden Childs, I tell you, there's no reason for Marnie to get a fine from here on out. He literally gets on report every game.
Yeah, for some rubbish.
Not to take credit, they play aggressive, right? But playing aggressive in one game gets you 1 call, and playing aggressive against Dogs doesn't get you that call. And that's the Dogs' way. I get it. Dogs play better, aggressive, they're in your face, they're shit, but at least be consistent, all right? If we go watch Titans, not Tigers, and they put a shot on, and immediately it's a penalty or a send-off or it's on report, immediately it's done. When Dogs came out, oh, well. Did they actually hit him in the head?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. It's black and white.
It all stemmed from when Critter got away with shoulder charging in the Warriors game. It all stemmed from
that. So, look, Dogs, nothing to take credit away, but the way they play does affect how the refs the game. And because this game is fucking so inconsistent depending on refs, you watch the game and you go, all right, Dogs are playing aggressive. They're going to hit someone soon. They hit someone. Well, we have to give on report because they play so aggressive anyway. Otherwise, they would all get sent off. It's kind of like navigation. Oh, yeah, if we sin bin this guy, then the Dogs' next shot, that has to be a sin bin as well. And then Dogs will have 9 players on the field.
Yeah.
And they can't do that. No one wants to see that. And no one wants to see that. So it's like, all right, that's what I'm saying. But for this particular game, outstanding. I mean, there's nothing I can say bad about Bulldogs. Incredible performance. Cronulla, go win 5 in a row and try again. Look, the thing is, at least you got it fucking out of the way 4 rounds in. That's the only thing I can say about Cronulla. Get it out of the way. You've done your loss. You showed where you're fucking garbage. You showed that you're garbage against these top sides. Get it out of the way because you've lost to Penrith, you've lost to Dogs.
And you beat South
and you beat South and Cowboys. Go beat another 7 bums. Go beat them all. And then come back to me and try again. Yeah, that's Cowboys. That's the best way to talk about Sharks.
Yeah, Dogs in the preview I said 3 physical games in a row, 6-day turnaround, missing Crichton and kick out another week.
Now they have a 9 turnaround.
Going and playing a team that can score, unlike Para couldn't score the week previous. Hilariously, they scored even less than Para. So just go figure. Shout out to the Kennel. I will raise an eyebrow next week because the trend of this season is as soon as you annoyed someone, they fuck it up. As soon as you annoyed someone, they fuck it up.
You can't fuck it up tonight.
If Dogs go and lose next week, don't be surprised. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but I don't know if the sports
what Dogs have earned from me. If Dogs go and lose 30-10 next week, I'll be like, that's fine. You can't win every game. That's fine.
Yeah, no. I do think next week we'll get to it in the preview. They will have slight thoughts of the bye.
Look, they'll have thoughts of the bye.
Burden's coming back. Kickout's coming back.
Kiraz, Tupanua will be out next week. They're really like...
And off the winning the comp.
Yeah.
But Dogs, like, they're like Penrith-esque, so you don't know. But
which, shout out to Gus and Sorrell, they got a good thing going, like, system-wise.
So you don't know, but we'll wait. We'll see. Spreads 4, 5.
Yeah, interesting. But moving on towards that Sunday, the thriller in Manly, which...
was the worst game of the round.
We could review this in 2 minutes. Yeah. What's there to say? Turbo got injured for the 500th game in a row.
Sure.
Para of probably one of the worst outfits I've ever seen, if not the worst offense.
All down to Dylan Brown, as per usual. One run in the second half.
Yeah, who was atrocious again. Para really looked like they've melded in. Jason Ross, I don't want to fucking hear it from you, this press conference, that, yeah, we did some good things, but we've got along. No, you did nothing good.
They tried.
As I said from week 1, now it's week 4, I'll say it again, there's nothing redeeming about you cunts. You're not good at anything.
No, they're not.
Your effort's shit. You're kicking in regulation shit.
Yeah.
Your goal kicking's probably shit, but I don't even get to see that because you can't score. Your attack's shit. Your ability to make meters is shit. Your coaching shit. Your ability.
Shout out Seabass.
Your ability to generate second phase, which was what you were actually great at before, is now shit.
Well, they got rid of their second phase.
Goal line D shit. Discipline shit.
They literally have one shining light, and he wears a green helmet, so you can know exactly who their player is. If it wasn't for Riley Smith, literally, I don't think they have. You know what? Actually, credit away. Lomax looks great, and Alagi doesn't look bad in a team that's awful.
I think the young guy's good.
I think he's fine.
He's okay.
He was a good replay. The rest of them, did Adokar, what's happened to this guy? He's awful. He can't even run.
Nah, you know what? I know I gave Jason Ross credit. He's really bad.
He is. Awful. Moses.
You're telling me they'd be any worse with Brad Arthur? At least they could score.
At least they could offload.
Yeah, at least they could offload.
I reckon,
So, he's not even coaching to his own personnel, right? Like, if there's any highlight of this Parrot team, which there isn't, if you were coaching Parrot tomorrow, what would your game plan be?
Offload.
All right, we have Hopgood, Paulo, offering JOE for what he's worth, which at least Zachary scored.
He did score. Actually, he didn't even put it down.
Oh, yeah, we can't get to that. We have Sean Lane. We have Cartwright and Madison, which I don't even pick. We have a fast fullback, a fast winger, and a great centre, and a good running 5'8", worth $1.3 million a year.
And we don't offload.
Let's just... Okay, after leaving the Dogs game of last week, we scored essentially 0 to Tigers, essentially 0 to Dogs, and essentially 0 to Melbourne when it mattered. How about when we go to Brookfield this week as 18.5-point underdogs, we just fucking... Every 2 seconds, we just offload.
What do you think is going to happen next week? They're saving it. They're going to start offloading.
So, in my mind, he's not even coaching to his personnel well. Has the audacity to go into the press conference and be like, yeah, we really improved on that. No, you guys haven't improved.
I actually think they played better last week.
Yeah, they did. In hindsight, losing the Dogs like that was commendable compared to what Sharks did, but... This was another despicable performance. You consider a despicable club, outfit, lineup. I wouldn't give you guys water at halftime besides young guy, Lomax, and Riley Smith, who doesn't even get onto the pitch, but I would give him water before some of these other players. Fucking despicable.
Jowie, because he likes fake selling.
Dylan Brown, look, he's
just leave.
I'm even past the point of being like, oh, he's not good for this. He doesn't even give a fuck.
He doesn't
Truly, I challenge those of you to go back and watch the highlights. The first try... Dual Bags, when he's locked in, would have chased Saab down.
Yeah.
When he was doing this on the sideline and then a young guy didn't tackle him, Dual Bags would have been there to tackle Saab. But he just looked at him, he's like, fuck it.
Yeah.
I'm going tonight. It's all good. On the other end, you had some comments off air about what Manly should have done with Turbo. Do you still hold that?
Yeah, he shouldn't have played. I mean, it's Para, 1. 2, you saw last week how good Lehigh is at fullback. And
he's done nothing at fullback, in my opinion.
Yeah, but they won by 40. Against a better team.
Atkins won by 40.
Against a better team. Raiders are better than... Yeah, Para. Yeah. Look, I think I would have played Lehigh. There was already strapping on his knee going into the game, and he said he bumped it yesterday. Now, I don't know if he did his MCL on his other knee during the game.
He did.
So, whatever. Anyway, there was always a problem. Sure, he's out. MCL probably a couple of weeks. It doesn't seem like it's a burden kick-out scenario. So...
Low grade strain.
Low grade. He'll be back soon.
I don't like the idea that they should have arrested him this week.
I don't mind it, but That's only because of who they play next week. That's the only reason. Right?
Look, it's a 26 round season. How can you, after resting him in week 3, be like, oh, we'll rest him in week 4? He's already been injured like 3 times in 4 weeks.
I know.
You know? Is it at a point, if you, by that logic, you should be like, all right, Turbo, we're going to rest you until week 1 of the finals.
I get it, but
because every time you run him out there, it can
This week's unique. And they actually stitched this up. I'll tell you how. If you saw no Turbo, what would the line be?
12?
Would they cover 12 or not?
Yeah. Yeah, I understand.
And it went to 18 because Turbo was suspected to play. Obviously, if he did his other knee, but his left, like, let's say it's his left was already strapped going into the game.
If Turbo played 80 minutes, what would the score have been?
120-0.
Yeah, I agree.
And, all right, it's time for me to get my hate before the Warriors game. Manly have the best shape in the comp. There's no doubt about it.
They do.
And that's why I've got them above Dogs. Because I actually think, and this could be an early take grand final, and you could get a ticket on this. We could get Manly Dogs grand final at this point. We could just get these two teams are literally going to be pitted against each other for the rest of this year. The two teams last year that we pitted against each other the whole time. Manly's better than Dogs. Dogs are better than Manly. Manly's better. And at this point, they're first and second right now.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
And, like, they're just going to be pitted against each other the whole rest of the season as well. So, could we get it right at the end, or will we get it earlier? We don't know. But they're literally 1A and 1B right now. And Manly, as awful, like, they haven't played great in any of their games. But I can't give credit to anyone else. Because, look, Brisbane, on the other hand, are just as awful as Manly are, if not worse. And Manly, like, between Manly and Brisbane, Manly has actually smashed 2 teams, and Brisbane's only smashed 1, and that was Roosters. So I have to give it to Manly. And the other idiots, Melbourne, they haven't played great in 2 weeks in a row, and they lost to Dragons of all cunts. And Sharks were pitiful this week. So I have to give these, and Penrith, well, don't worry about them. I have to say Manly. And from week 1, when they played Cowboys, like, it wasn't they were awful, but they actually just got broke apart by structure. They did, yeah. And why I say their shape is the best, Saab's first try, I don't think any team in the league could do something like that right now.
Probably
they
not.
can't. They can later, and they have shown they can between Melbourne, Cronulla, Brisbane. They can.
Brisbane can.
Brisbane can, but if they don't drop it in that process. But Manly, literally, from their own bang. And that's it. Para were done. After Saab scored, it was over. It was like, all right, these guys have given up. Okay. It's finished. So with Turbo's injury, if not, with or without Turbo, I'm leaning one side next week because I think Hughes is a bigger loss than Turbo is for Melbourne. I'm going to lean Manly regardless. I still think Manly
that's
going into it.
That's a crazy thing.
So, look, I think these guys, like, as awful as they've played, they still have a shape that I know when they go down their end, they're going to put the ball over the line. And
without Turbo?
Yeah, they will.
There's nothing to suggest to me that they can go and just run a mark without Turbo.
Well, I think they can.
Not
run a mark. They're not going to fucking destroy Melbourne, but
no.
I think they can beat Melbourne.
I do too, but that's not because I think, you can just plug Lehigh in and they can just fucking boom, boom, boom score. Their entire crux of the ability for these fuckwits to go and score from their own 20-metre line is because Turbo's there.
Yeah, of course. From their own 20-metre line, yeah. From their own half.
From even the opposition's 20-metre line.
I get it, but Melbourne, what they showed this week was like, wow.
Hughes was a crazy loss. Yeah,
I was like, all right. Like, they can't crack Dragons.
You know what's stupid?
I know they'll crack Manly.
Now, Manly's going to go quit to Harry Grant in the middle.
I know. I know Manly will give up through the middle. But I still think Manly, like, they can just pick them apart.
Well, they're going to be underdogs now. Probably +3, +2.
That's a lot. Can you really put them underdogs at Brookie?
Yeah.
After a poor game? I don't think anyone can say they're poor. And I think the biggest, like, literally, we've said 5 minutes, and I'll cap it off now. The biggest talking point with this game was Cherry Evans' post-game interview. Because it sounds like he hasn't made a decision.
Yeah, it seemed that
and
way. Well, I think he's lying.
I think everyone was like, no, bro, Roosters. It sounds like he hasn't made his mind up. And he's just hearing offers. He could be lying.
He's lying.
Sure, he could be already signed, 100%. But the way Cherry carries himself, I don't think he's made that decision 100% yet. But that's actually good for Manly because Manly's sitting there and like, all right, he's dedicated to us for the whole season. And I think that helps.
I think...
Unlike Dylan Brown.
There's no doubt in my mind that he will... for the rest of this season, we will die for Manly. So that's fine. We are a punting podcast. I think people will forget that because we fucking blow up at like the intricacies of the NRL. But believe it or not, after all that, Manly didn't cover.
I know.
Which, just in my mind, this round just...
doesn't make sense.
Dolphins were absolutely fucking despicable and they covered in the 76th minute because Manly just clocked off and they didn't care. Along with the fact that Turbo got injured, Manly took the two twice over they took the two. Often Jowie scored a no try and they just awarded it without even checking it.
So did Lane. He was offside.
Lane was offside and they just said try confirmed for no reason. And on the 80th minute, you sat and watched Manly dominate from minute 1 to minute 79.59. And then you just watched Lane waltz into the try line in front of Dylan Brown, put the ball down, and you're like, Para covered.
Yeah.
And after all that, Manly didn't cover.
Yeah.
And you did the same. The Broncos game was a copy paste the same thing. So not only are the cunts winning at $4 and outplaying the $1.20 favourites, Dogs, Dragons, Souths, Titans, but even the dirt of the sport, which there's two teams, Dolphins and Para in their own tier. Even they're going out and playing garbage and covering. Yeah. So that leads us into...
Are the good teams that closer to the pack than what we thought? Which I don't think they are. I actually think it's further.
I have no idea.
Look, I think this is just set up for the bookies to get annihilated, come round 7, 8.
What can you, confidently stick your chest out and be like, yeah, this is fact? Bulldogs are good, Para's shit, and Dolphins suck. That's it.
Everything else is up in the air.
You can fucking sneak out and be like, Penrith aren't that good. All of a sudden, Penrith will go win 50-0. You can be like, oh yeah, Roosters suck. They're fucking kind of big Titans.
I can have that.
I guarantee you, they'll go and beat Souths for no reason. Now after 3 weeks of us being like, Warriors are shit, the Waz fans will be like, Warriors are gun. They're going to go lose to fucking Titans or something stupid for no reason, even though they've looked pretty good the last 3 weeks. Which segues us perfectly into the final game of round.
Everyone wants to hear this.
The NRL. Thank you for staying patient with us, ladies and gentlemen.
Hour and 30 minutes.
And my G's. We are accountable like anybody else in the world, and we're going to come out and give you guys an apology. I believe so. I'll hand over to my co-host who, quote, said, you guys are fucking garbage. Heading into this game, do you still feel as if these cunts are fucking garbage, Chris? And say it with your chest.
All right, I'll say it with my chest. I'm doing a re-prediction because everyone wants to fucking hear where Canberra's going to be, which conveniently, Canberra was 6th and came all the way down to 13th like that, which is the same place I put them originally. I actually have Warriors 14th.
Okay.
And they're 3-1. And I'll tell you why. The teams above them, for everyone that's loyal, the top 6, they're on their own, Penrith included. All right, just leave them at the top.
Penrith, Melbourne, Manly, Cronulla,
Dogs
and
Brisbane. Just leave them alone. They shifted around a bit, whatever. The next team I actually have is Titans, which is really comical because at least they've proven. Then I have Tigers because, until today, they decided to win every game. And then I was like, all right, should I put Warriors next? Well, do I think they're better than South? No, I don't think they are. Intrinsically, I still think South are better than them. And South have probably played better than them so far. And then I was like, all right, who's after that? Dragons. Well, can I really put Dragons below Warriors and Dragons just beat Melbourne? Ugh, that's not going to happen. Dragons, all right. Well, that's there. And then slowly I went through all the teams and I was like, you cunts are still the same position. And they're 3-1. Every game has some sort of reason why they've won. And Tigers today, I'll give you a fucking reason. Tigers were, if not, the most unlucky team going into the round with everything. From the start of the round until during the game, with everything that happened. From the start, Skeleton being out. Then Dewey gets done in the warm-up. Then Turuva gets the HIA for a call he didn't get. One of those garbage ones that they hit him in the head, don't get a call for it, and then he has to go off for HIA. Stupid. Samuel Fainu went off. Apparently he's fine, but he didn't play the rest of the game. And I'm like, all right, that's fine. Warriors, if I go on the podcast and say Warriors was shit, I'm not going to say that. They played good. They showed good glimpses. They played good. And I was like, why are they playing so fucking good? Makes no sense. I can't be this wrong. Look at the possession count. 30 tackles in the opposition, 20-7. I was like, just wait. It'll turn now because it's this sport. Instantaneously, they gave up. And this is what pisses me off about Warriors. They're literally the same as Dragons and the same as Souths. So you can put them all on the same tier. For 25 minutes of a game, they quit. And they quit again. Fadatape, awful player, made for 5 minutes look like a god. Caught the ball off the Galvin kick. Then you guys do a kickoff which went literally 30 meters. It went like this. He caught it sliding. Tigers scored again. He did the same thing again. And Tigers scored again. But he dropped it.
Terrell May.
And if Terrell May scored that, we would have a very different podcast, I must tell you. Because if that went to 30 points to 18, I literally think it would have been like 40.
Fair enough.
And as soon as that happens, 12-point swing, they go the other way and score. And 24 all, it's like, you know what? Tigers are actually typically pretty good in this scenario. Actually, even before that, Bullers scored as well. Another no try.
That was valid.
Which was fine. I'm not going to complain about that. Then they go score, and then Charnsey gets his,
No try.
No, Charnsey gets the penalty to go 2 points in front. And as soon as that happened, I was like, yep, it's us. Warriors are going to go win. When, in my opinion, the first half, they played good, but the second half proved to me what Warriors are. And I think a lot of teams would be like, oh, they would put them away. They didn't. They actually didn't put them away. If anything, Tigers, for a stretch of period of time, looked invincible and were walking through the middle of the dot. Like, if Terrell May scored that, it might have been the most embarrassing try of the year thus far. Because you could see the Warriors players, this is the line. Oh, Terrell May's coming out. Should we move up? No, I'm scared of him. All right, we'll just tackle him once he gets to the line. And you're lucky he dropped it because he pushed you guys out of the way and went down with two hands and still dropped it. I can't sit here and tell you guys, it's my podcast, I'm telling you the truth, they still look shit. And they scored 26 against Tigers, and maybe next week they're going to go win again by 70, but their 3 games that they've played, there's all been excuses why all 3 times that they've won. And that doesn't say to me that they're actually gone out there and changed everything that happened in that Vegas game, because there's still glimpses of that Vegas game every single time they play. It's just that the other team does something dumb and gives them the win. Roosters, now we can see that Roosters win isn't that fucking impressive anyway, because they just went and mailed it in against Titans at home. And the Manly game, we already had the excuses over Manly. I mean, I've never seen a more dominant calls in my life. Maybe today was your best performance. Is this the day that you go forward? Maybe. But I can't say anything about positive if I'm not telling the truth. I'm telling the truth on this podcast. I still don't see it in them. And that's why I've got them 14th. I still think they'll fuck it up.
Okay, so you have them below Raiders, Roosters.
Well, they lost to Raiders, so I can't put them above them.
Titans, Dragons.
Yep.
Tigers.
Roosters. Yeah.
You have Roosters above them?
Yeah.
So you have Tigers and Roosters and Raiders above them, which they've beaten all 3 of them.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
That's what I'm saying.
All right, Warriors.
There's nothing good about it.
Okay, all right, my G's out there. Congratulations on being 3-1. It was a good win today. You showed a lot of spirit and fight and ability to turn the game around when it finally went in the opposition's favour. Did Tigers contribute to that?
Yeah.
Absolutely, because a more polished Tigers team probably would have bumped this to 30-18, and then I think it would have been a bridge too far for you guys to climb. Did you guys contribute in a despicable way to potentially being down 30-18 when you dominated pretty much the entirety of the game? Yeah, that was really alarming. All right, number 1, the game was extremely back and forth. Warriors came out, scored, Tigers answered. Warriors scored again, and for how well Warriors actually played in that first half, I was like, I'm happy with 12-6 even. I was like, this easily could be 18-6. Like you said, Chris, all the tackles in the 20, all the calls, really, Wyatt was giving them, like, for the same offense, Warriors would get a 6 again and Tigers wouldn't.
Yeah.
Warriors would get a 6 again, Tigers wouldn't. Turuva got hit in the head. He stayed down. He's like, get up and play it. 2 seconds later, he has to go do a HIA. Kossi had the exact same thing happen to him. He stayed down. And even before the bunker could view it, he was like, penalty.
Yeah, they didn't look at it, did they?
So
He
I was
just
like,
sat there when,
okay, it's that kind of
them.
game. That's fine. You can't. Niokore, I specifically have to call him out. What a lazy fucking forward he is.
Bro, he gave so many calls.
And for all, as powerful as he is at the try line, and he's a good weapon to have outside of Metcalf, when they had scored to go up 12-6, and I think they gave Tigers the ball back on the Tigers 10-meter line, I was like, Warriors are going to give these cunts a fucking stupid yardage penalty, aren't they? And Niokore immediately on first tackle was just lying asleep on one of the Tigers players. Pew! And
concede.
Bang. Galvin goes outside, gives it to the boys on the right-hand side, and Toa scores before halftime. De Silva nails it from the sideline. I was like, 12-all? Fuck, how good's this? Like, we're playing that garbage and we're tied with them. If possession swings, we're going to, like, steamroll them in the end. Immediately, Tigers come out and just...
Tigers were asleep first 6 minutes.
They were sleeping.
They were asleep.
They were literally asleep. Warriors come out, great yardage set. Tigers don't really make more than 30 meters. De Silva gives terrible fucking service to Galvin. He kicks at 30 meters. And this is the passage of play that has probably impressed me with Warriors the most the entire season. It was Egan coming out of hooker, giving it to Harris DeVito, who was supporting him from that point forward, and who then gave it to fucking Metcalf. And the 9, 6, and 7 combined in a way that I didn't think they were capable of.
Like, wow, look at Warriors.
I was like, wow, okay.
I actually thought we were lost from that point.
I was like, I can... You know what? If Warriors going to do that, I can respectfully go on the pod, give a shout out to all the G's out there and be like, we shat on your spine week after week after week, and they can produce that. I'm happy to lose to that.
At that
That's
point,
okay.
I was like, you know what? Warriors have played well and they're leading. They're doing the right thing. But then, prove me right.
Directly from the point they led 18-12, up until Halasima's try, was despicable from Warriors. If I was a Warriors fan or someone that backed them, I would have been on the fucking floor when Terrell May went over of how is this happening?
Yeah.
Like, how the fuck are we in a situation where
They're
it's
3-1 and they let that Latu Fainu try in.
Yeah. Look,
that was something new.
Tigers didn't get many calls throughout that entire game, but the 2 they got, I'm going to take a little break and go to Tigers just quickly.
You can't say despicable.
You can't... I've never seen a bigger drop-off in my life from Coruscant coming off of De Silva. I mean, fuck me, boy.
Yeah, middle of the park.
Holy
is really
shit.
bad.
It becomes a freeway without him. Shit service. Shit,
that forward pass, bro.
Shit kicking.
The one with Saint
shit fucking tackling. Everything becomes shit without Appion. But you buy him some time to bring him back on, right? So from the point that Warriors went up 18-12 and gave the call away, Coruscant, here comes Coruscant. He completely cut them apart in the middle of the park as if their players weren't even there.
Yeah.
Right? Luai does the grubber. We score on the left edge. All right, it's 18-all.
Immediately
we score again through... I can't even remember who scored.
That was the final one.
That was the final.
The Red Sea parted.
No, who scored to make it 18-all?
Fedetape in the corner. Galvin, great kick.
Yes.
Yeah. And then fucking Talon De Silva did kick that goal at halftime. I don't know how he kicked
JT, I don't know how he kicked it right.
And then Fedetape scored. It was 18-all.
And then fucking you can't split the Red Sea. At 18-all, I want to make this point of what I was watching. I thought Andrew Webster cost these cunts the game. Those Warriors rotation forwards were just look like dirt.
Yeah, I don't know why they went out
and
in that.
I thought, look, I understand there's 28 minutes left and it's not your normal forward rotation. At 18-all, I would, because at this point, Fainu's out, Dewey's not playing, so Jack Bird, who's supposed to be an interchange forward, comes and plays centre. Fatape's on the wing, who's a terrible player in general.
He played all right.
And you're like you're carrying a hooker on the bench, so you don't have many forwards as is, right? I thought Webster should have seen the writing on the wall of we're just getting obliterated in the middle. I'm going to bring on Mitch Barnett and James Fisher right now. I don't want these cunts for another minute. Then they conceded the final try, and I was like, all right, they just look despicable. Then he brings the boys on. Immediately, Mitch Barnett makes a fucking error on the 2 meter line,
and I was like,
which gave the ball for the Terrell May no try. From that point forward, Tigers
beat Tigers.
At the end of the day, they're Tigers, right? So they're not gonna make it easy for themselves. And I thought Coruscant, his kicking game was immaculate. Was putting Warriors into corners. They were restricting them a whole lot. Luai made the play where he went shots on and pumped Fisher-Harris, forced the error. I was like, there's no way around for Warriors, right? Unless they get some sort of piggyback garbage.
Which actually didn't.
Tigers are playing like Penrith. And they're playing in a way that they look comfortable going and winning 24-18. And just as I say that, here comes Halasima.
What a run. Shout out.
Fuck me. All right. How did he even end up on the wing in the first place to go and score from 70 meters out? It was a true back-breaking try, in my opinion. And sure, you would expect more out of Tigers, but...
Do you?
What the fuck? I didn't like the call that gave Warriors the penalty.
Yeah, I didn't like it with
that
8
was
minutes.
Fucking poor. And I'm not even saying that as someone that backed Tigers. At the end of the day, I have no problem coming on and saying I was wrong. But... that was so soft.
It was soft.
It was pretty soft of Chanzi to milk it. Sure, they got the penalty and it was a smart thing to do. I get that. But was there really that much force? Or, honestly, this is going to sound dumb, but I don't care. I actually felt like Chanzi headbutted fucking Seyfarth's shoulder. There was no winding up action of him.
He didn't move.
He didn't even move. He just stood there and Chanzi made contact with his shoulder and he went down, got the penalty, and then Tigers... It was a comedy of errors the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, they could. I feel like the youth got them.
They play like retards.
But when you're looking at possibly 30-18 twice because Buller scored. I mean,
I'm not even counting the Buller one.
Yeah, no, I know, but they did cross over twice after that, and it wasn't I think the commentator said it. It's black and white, sure. No one was tackling Buller in that scenario. He could have got across, they wouldn't have tackled him.
I disagree. He runs directly in the space that they scored. That's fine. Was it good footwork? Sure, but...
Terrell May won.
That was just fucking shocking.
But having both of those mentally in the game and just not having them, and then this...
No. The reffing was actually fucking atrocious. Do you remember the Coruscant leg dive cannonball penalty? Are you fucking kidding me?
5-1.
Yeah, are you joking?
He went too low.
That was after Coruscant almost kicked the 40-20. It was fourth tackle. This guy literally just makes a legs tackle and he calls penalty. And I was like, what? Immediately following that, Terrell May and Halasima are holding each other like this. And he's like, no, you've hung on too long after the fucking tackle's complete. When Halasima legit threw one of those sneaky jabs at him. And I was like, how many of these calls are you going to give him in a row? Sure, eventually Tigers will crack. But they didn't until the Halasima try, which, come on, boys.
Fanatape and Bird, they actually tried. They're shit players.
If that's Dewey and Skelton, maybe you have a different story. They're just shit.
Yeah, so that's fine. It's Tigers. It's Tigers.
I was more pissed off at the 2 points that they got after.
You know what? Tigers are the team that, if they're not 1-17, that's it.
Oh, yeah.
They need everyone.
I thought Luai and Coruscant were, played really good.
I thought Galvin was amazing.
Galvin was, for the reasons we took Tigers, I thought the spine did enough for them to win the game. But in the end, the Waz overcome them. Just for the Tigers' great defense to go and concede 26 points like that, especially the one immediately after halftime.
That was really bad, yeah.
You can argue that Tigers deserve to lose, and I'm okay with that. But when I make a take on the pod, I try and watch the games as objectively as I can. And from the point it was 18-12, if Warriors had just gone on with it and not lost that next 20-minute period the way they did, I think I would have come on full flowers. Look, I was wrong. You guys were right. The Warriors are good, yada, yada, yada. But
I saw what they could do.
I have to come on and be honest with how the game played out. And I congratulate you for being 3-1. That's better than majority of the league right now. And truly, even the most avid Warriors fan, after going to Vegas and getting raped by Raiders like that, could never sit and tell me that you guys are going to be 3-1. So I'm sure you're stoked. But again, another week where, sure, you got the result, but I was not convinced with how you got there. So I have to call it like I say it.
Yeah.
Sorry, G's, but I don't know what it's going to take for you guys to win us over. But it's
next week.
This wasn't the week. Who do they play?
I don't know.
Tigers again. I don't know. I hope they have a bye and I don't have to watch.
They might actually have one, actually.
Fair enough, but I think we've been rambling on for about 2 hours now. Obviously, this was a big round for us to recap. The Back Yourself podcast here for your entertainment as always and analysis. I hope you boys appreciated it. Your 3 key takeaways for the round, Chrissy.
We don't have enough charge for this. Sharks, fuck you. Raiders, fuck you. And I still like you, Manly. All right. No. Fuck Manly. Dogs, incredible. Great performance.
Brisbane, fuck you.
Raiders?
Dragons, good job, boys. I'm proud of you.
Yeah, I had a Dragon.
And Raiders, you guys should literally fucking end your franchise after that performance. Right. Peace out. Thank you for tuning in. Catch you guys next time. Let's
Peace.
Oj.